Yo, Bootleg Kev podcast. We are here with a legend right now, man. MC Eiht.
What's cracking, Kev?
I'm chilling, bro. I got to tell you, when I was a kid, I had a big cousin who had all, the CD books used to be the shit.
Right.
He had all your shit, Compton's Most Wanted shit. And I kind of got introduced. I want to say as a child, you and Quick's beef was my first introduction to like rap beef.
Right.
I was probably like, I don't know, like 10 or 11. And, you guys had a legendary back and forth. But, man, it's so dope to talk to you. I've been in LA for like 3 or 4 years. It's the first time we met, man.
Yes, indeed.
You got your new album that, how long have you been working on this new album, Lessons?
I've been working on it for about a year and a half. Just trying to get the right music together, try to get a couple of features, whatever. I don't really be big on features. I just try to do what I do. When I start recording a project, I usually just go into the studio. I get about 3-4 producers, and I just have them just send me beat after beat after beat after beat. So I might record up to 60 songs.
Right.
And then from there, I just, being in the game a while and having relationships with certain cats, it enables me to pick up the phone and be like, hey, I need a verse, I need a beat. So always Primo, always New York cats, I kind of, extend their hand as far as my I want to say my contribution to hip hop.
Right.
It's been so long. So dudes will just, send me verses, send me beats. So I've been recording this record for about a year and a half, and I try to do a lot of songs, and then out of the 60 songs, I might pick 30, and then I'll send them to Primo. And then Primo will be like, yeah, no. And then from there, I just basically just try to put whatever. It don't even matter on the amount of songs I record. If it's 20 songs, we put 20 songs out. If it's 15, right, we do 15. If it's 12, if it's 27. I mean, I just try to do a gang of songs so at least it'll go around the board and have everybody or a little flavor for everybody.
You and Primo, give me the roots of your guys' relationship, because obviously you being from LA, Primo's, originally from Texas, but we associate him with New York. Talk about y'all's relationship and where it started.
I started rapping, man, back in the days, P-Rock, CL Smooth, Easy, Ice Cube, Tone Loc, Schoolie D. So I've been around for a while. So back in my days, record companies was big on promotional tours. Mm-hmm. You had to go out. You had to go do in-store, sign autographs. So around the time I first got started, Primo and them had first got started with Gangstar. Yep. Him and Rest in Peace Guru.
Rest in peace.
I used to see him a lot on the road, promo tours. And one of my first major concerts was with Gangstar at the Celebrity Theater in Anaheim.
Oh, no, there's a Celebrity Theater in Phoenix, too.
Yeah, it was a Celebrity Theater in Anaheim. And my first major show was Low Profile.
Wow.
Above the Law.
Okay.
CMW and Gangstar.
So that's like such a gangster ass West Coast lineup, and then Gangstar.
And then Gangstar. So, they was hot with the Manifest record.
Yep.
So I used to bump into them, and a lot of my early gigs, when I started touring, was with Gangstar, whether it was Texas or Chicago, Cleveland. Always used to bump into Primo and them. So we got cool like that. And then me being signed to Sony, a lot of my deals in construction, I had to go to New York and deal with the suit heads. So
yep.
I used to call Primo up every time. Primo, I'm coming into town. He picked me up from the airport. We go to his crib, just hang out like homies. And we've kept that relationship over the years. He used to remix my records when I was over at Sony, over at Epic. So we just kept a connection, you know. And Primo used to take me around all the shows, the gigs. You know, I got introduced to Nas early and Busta Rhymes and Tretch and a lot of them cats, man. We used to just chill. So we've built that rapport over the years as to I can hit Primo up, man, any time of day. Any time of day, night, whatever, and it's always a given. You know, Primo, I need a beat, or sometimes I just want him to listen to shit to make sure I'm on the right track, because as a producer,
you trust his ear, of course.
Goddamn right. He got that ear, and you know, producing for everybody from me to Jill Scott,
Jay-Z to everybody.
Jay-Z, Christina, Biggie, you know, so he's had that track record where he has that good ear. So me and Primo's been knowing each other for a long time, and I respect that friendship relationship outside of just the music. You know, somebody you would cross paths with at a concert or a show or whatever.
He's the best. And
exactly.
Yeah, I had one conversation with Primo, and it was the best. It was like when you meet your idols.
Yeah.
And it like they don't fuck up what you know, because sometimes you'll meet somebody who you grow up loving, and then you meet them or you interview them.
The perception of the motherfuckers is like, damn.
And you're disappointed. Yeah, but with Primo, we just talked hip hop and porn stars and all kinds of wild shit.
Yeah. That's Primo.
That's Primo, right?
Yeah, Primo can talk you around everything, every subject, anything, you know. And like I said, that's being a diverse human being that Primo is being, and a good nigga. He's always been that, for sure.
Let's go back to kind of how you got started, man. Like, obviously being from Compton, being involved in the gang shit, at what point in time did you decide to take hip hop serious and realize that it might be like a way out of the other shit that was going on?
Well, you know, like I said, I started in the height of you know, not to saying that, you know, gangbang still exists and it's still out there, whatever, but I started in the height of the area around Ice-T with Colors and NWA and Easy with Boys in the Hood and Straight Outta Compton, and then Ice-T with 6 in the Morning, King T, you know what I'm saying?
Shout out to the Liquid Crew, man.
All day.
King T and Ice-T are two guys who don't get enough praise for what they did.
Definitely my dude Tila. Tila was, man, I mean, every record that came out from Tila in that time was just, you know, Payback's a Mother and You Better Bring a Gun and all that shit, man. He was the forefront of what everybody could say was what started Compton hip hop. No disrespect to my nigga Toddy T and Mixmaster Spade, but as far as records went, Tila was that dude. So I was just a young cat, you know, trying to bang in the neighborhood, whatever. And Todd was from my neighborhood, Toddy T. Shout out Toddy T. Todd came out with a song called The Battle Ram, you know. Battle Ram was a neighborhood jam, you know, the Daryl Gates, police, drug sales, whatever. So that kind of piqued my interest of getting into the rap game. And then I took a summer vacation, you know, to Mississippi. And my cousin, being in Mississippi, was more East Coast inclined. So that's when I started hearing rap music. You get me? Eric B. and Rakim and fucking UTFO and Roxanne Shante and Treacherous 3 and Grandmaster Flash. So I'm like, oh shit. Like, so it piqued my interest as to want to take it to a different level as to just going home and rapping about the block, because that's what I did. I wanted to be a Toddy T or a Spade. I wanted to rap about Trag New. I wanted to talk about the police harassment and who we had beef with and whatever. But then when I got introduced to, like I said, Rakim and Eric B. as president, when you hear shit like that, or EPMD, You Gots to Chill, you start going, wow, like it's something else to this shit than just speaking on
what you see.
Exactly. So from that, I just took the skills and what I've learned from the East Coast rappers of learning how to put together verses in a perfect song and to rap about shit outside of Compton, you know. So that's what sparked my real interest and want to turn from just a little mixtape or TDK selling, talking about we this and we that and we bang, or this is our hood, and they wanted me to take it further to songs like Growing Up in the Hood or Drive By Miss Daisy, or to get more, you know, personal with the rap. So it started around when I started listening to East Coast rap. I mean, East Coast rap was big for me, man. Real talk.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was always kind of prevalent in your shit, like that, because you know, I mean, even if we could fast forward to now, you know, your first single's got Conway on
exactly
it, by Primo, you know,
definitely.
But I do think that if you think back to that era of like West Coast hip hop, like how even Ice Cube, you know, with America's Most Wanted, which I think is his best body of work, was heavily influenced by New York. He went out to New York and tapped in with the Bomb Squad,
definitely,
and P and Chuck D and all that. At what age did you initially get involved in gangbanging? Because I do feel like like you said, it's still around, but when you were growing up, it was kind of. It was new. I'm saying it was new to the world.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Like the Crips and Bloods shit was something that was starting to become like a mainstream thing, but now we all know what Crips and Bloods are, right?
I mean, as a young kid, I was naive to it. I mean, I lived in the center of it and didn't know shit about it. As a fucking 5, 6, 7-year-old kid.
Right.
All I knew was Saturday morning cartoons, riding my bike up and down the street and not knowing that the dudes right down the block was claiming shit and selling drugs, and I was naive to it. But as you grow and you start seeing and you start adapting to your environment and you seeing the dudes hanging on the corners and dudes your age riding around in fancy cars and whatever. So my introduction to that was around, 12, 13 years old.
What year was this?
Shit, this had to be like 85, 86. It was treacherous around. I would go to the bus stop getting ready to go to school, and then I started getting introduced to niggas sweating you and shit. I didn't know what the fuck that was about. What is this? I'm sitting at the bus stop getting ready to go to school, and it's like, nigga, where the fuck you from? And what you doing over here? And why you got that on? And what you wearing that hat for? And why you got that? And then I'm looking like, God damn, and that was the reality of it. So at that age, it's funny because before that, I dealt with none of that. But then once you
start to look like you might be grown a little bit,
once you hit that age, next it's just like a common thing. You either getting sweated or you sweating a motherfucker or y'all jumping out on motherfuckers, and that's, like I said, it was the product of my environment. Is what I adapted to when I was able to understand and know what gangbanging was about, and trying to grow up in a section and trying to protect your section and represent, and it's about you and the homies and whatever. So it was a transition, I think, growing up on the West and being in that environment, because if I probably grew up somewhere else, it'd have probably been a different thing.
Do you think that you having to deal with that shit where people would bang on you or sweat you, like you said, like did that kind of force you to like figure out like I need to have something to say?
Well, yeah. I mean, you either gonna get down or lay down at that aspect. So it's either you gonna belong to something and represent something, or you gonna be a motherfucker out there who's probably gonna end up at the like belly of the beast, because there was no saving. I don't give a fuck. You could say you wasn't from nowhere and then the motherfucker sweat you harder. So it's best to belong than to not and get caught up in a world of bullshit that you can't handle. So that was my thing about, the gangbanging shit and claiming the hood or getting courted in or whatever. It was the sense of feeling like I belonged and represented. You know what I'm saying? And I had 15, 20, 30 other niggas who was representing, and we all for the protection of whatever. And if niggas didn't like it, then we handled that accordingly to how we did it. But like I said, I think it's not a choice. It's being in a situation and an environment that we grew up in. It's like, that's what you did.
Yeah, it's funny because I just had this conversation with somebody. I had a cousin who did like 15 years in prison, right?
Right.
I have two cousins. One of them is half Mexican, half white. He's in the Mexican mafia. My other cousin, who actually passed away in prison recently, not a racist guy, big hip hop head, but literally was in for 20 years, and he joined the Aryan Nation. It's a survival thing. It's like
definitely.
It's like, I remember he got out for a couple of years, and I took him to a Busta Rhymes concert, and it was like the best night of his life. But this motherfucker, you got to wear long sleeve shirts, bruh.
Yeah, definitely.
But like you said, it's like, yo, it's like you got to adapt.
You have to
get
adapt.
down or lay down.
I mean, you have to adapt to certain situations that we're put in, especially if you one of those young men who grew up or got tossed in a situation to where it's either you either a part of this and gonna belong, or you gonna represent and you gonna uphold this shit to the best of your ability, or you gonna be, like I said, you're gonna be a sheep to the lions.
What are your thoughts on now? Because I do feel like it's just interesting that like there's people who move to LA, like artists will move to LA, and then, you know, all of a sudden they're affiliated with certain sets and they got big homies, and I don't know how, like, you know, there's like R&B singers and shit that are like banging like hard as fuck, and it's like, wait a minute, like, you know, like, what are your thoughts on kind of how gangbanging has evolved currently? Because I do feel like there's a lot of there's a lot of faces to certain, you know, sets that are like that aren't from here per se. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I look at that as a lot of people get into situations to where they feel like it's just like if a dude joined the Cub Scouts or went out and joined the football team or whatever. The aspect of that is to toughen up or make you seem like, you know, you protected or being something that you ain't. Some dudes have to adapt to that situation. Some dudes have to feel like, you know, that's my foundation of what I've seen or what I've wanted to become. If for dudes like me who grew up here and firsthand witnessed gang banging and grew up in it, there was a certain way and code that you belonged or you got put on a neighborhood. You know, the new days, quote, of gang banging is to each his own, is what I say. It's what is accepted and what ain't accepted from whatever gang feels like this is what they do. I mean, I don't know, sometimes it might be a popularity contest, or it might be hey, I've always wanted to be a part, so is it a backward step? To me, I think it is. But like I said, some dudes is to each his own, and they feel like that they have to have that background to make them official. You feel me? So I don't really speak on it, because then we don't want to get entangled in the situation of telling people that they not original or whatever, because if you feel that's you, that's you. Myself, I know the certain codes coming from Compton at 12, 13 years old, knowing what it took or what had to be done to be initiated into a gang, as to nowadays it's just like, hey,
you're down.
You down,
show us love,
show us love.
Bring the homies around the city,
and it's all good. So it's different codes. Like I said, different times. I mean, gangbanging is commercialized now. Back in my days when we didn't glorify it. I mean, people knew where we were from, what we represented, but there was no way in fuck.
Sony. I feel like once the 90s hit, it became like, I remember when there was the Crips the Crips and Bloods album, Banging on Wax.
Right.
And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. It started to become commercialized because record labels looked at it as a promotional tool to sell records. I mean, honestly, we couldn't do that shit back in my days. When I got signed to Sony and I was on Epic Records, the home of Michael Jackson and Sade, no way in fuck you finna put bandanas on a video and you finna be on a record talking about you a Crip from so-and-so. The way we did it is we did it with our color symbolizations, or niggas will wear blue in their videos, the Bloods will wear red in their videos, and we left it at that. Now that record labels see that it's influenced by, oh shit, so he's saying he this, now you got 1 million fans who buying this product because he representing what. We're not going to stop that. I mean, claim whatever you want to. You want more blue bandanas? You want more red bandanas? Get them. The more the merrier, because it's now commercialized and people ain't scared of the situation no more. Not to say gangbanging ain't official, but like I said, back in our days, Motherfuckers had security in the lobbies of record labels because they were scared of niggas walking in them. Now you like bring all your crew in. Shit, you get so it's just a way that motherfuckers have monetized it and made it to where we can put it on film, you can claim it, and then there it is. Fuck it. Long as we making $1 off of it, we're not intimidated.
If somebody in your entourage,
we'll turn the other cheek. We'll turn the other cheek. Yes.
I wanted to ask you about something specific that I just wanted to get your take on, and that's the 6ix9ine situation. He just was out in L.A. For like 3 or 4 days. Obviously, just out here being very disrespectful, trolling the shit out of everybody. He pulled up to Nipsey's memorial, you know, at the Fat Burger next to Nipsey's store. I had heard. Well, first of all, you know, what is your take on that specific like him coming out to LA and kind of just showing out? I know he's got, and then I wanted to ask you a follow up, I just wanted to get your initial kind of perception on that.
It's expected for dudes who are looking for the limelight. Promotional tactic and stunts are heavy. Real niggas don't move like bullshit. Real niggas move like real niggas move. So that situation to me is all about numbers. It's all about promotion. It's all about controversy. And when you got them 3 things, you'll stay in a motherfucker's mouth all day. Whether it's good or bad, they don't give a fuck. I've always been told promotion is promotion, whether it's good or bad. Motherfuckers is talking about you.
Yeah, there's that cliche, there's no such thing as bad press.
None. So
unless you're Tory Lanez. Anyway, continue.
So look, he comes out and he's the talk of the town. Now, nobody's really, real niggas are not worried about that situation. You got a lot of motherfucking people who feel that it's disrespectful, whatever. But on a real day, he's not going to do that type of shit knowing that it's real niggas standing ground.
I heard he did that at like 7 in the morning.
Of course. You do it, like I said, it's all publicity. And I don't have nothing to say about dude. Dude do what he do. He try to make his money. That's his thing. It's all about the money. Let's face it. It's all about the money with certain cats. It's not about being, loyal or true or whatever. So I don't understand why a lot of motherfuckers are tripping off of the cat, because it's all been that gimmicky situation from the gate.
That's what he does.
From the gate. So don't be shocked by the antics. You get me? It's just like a motherfucker who want to promote a movie and go downtown and skydive off of the tallest building or tightrope across or anything for promotion is to keep a motherfucker's name in people's mouths. Because the quieter you are and you don't talk about it, motherfucker gonna die away in the wind. So I have to keep my name in the public. So you do certain shit. You do dumb shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because with someone like him coming to LA, obviously he's got a lot of security.
Of course.
I'm not sure if he had to pay for any protection out here or not. But do you think that a lot of people I know, I've spoken with a lot of homies that are from out here who are, some G's that like 6ix9ine kind of do you think he kind of cracked the street code, or maybe just I think he's the first person to do what he's doing openly. There's been other snitches that are
of course
in hip-hop,
of course
people, but for him to be so outward with it, do you think he kind of cracked the street code, and do you think that there's a way to move forward where, because the snitch thing has always been that one code that is the unbreakable thing, right? And he's still successful. He's calling people out. It's kind of crazy.
But you have to understand, the snitch code. The snitch code stands for real niggas.
Right.
It only stands for real niggas.
Me and Glasses Malone talked about that. Like, if you're like a civilian, if you're not mixed up in shit, you should snitch.
And then,
like, if something happens to you and you're a normal person, call the police. But if you're, G Malone, like, nah, I'm not calling the police. I'm gonna handle my shit the way I handle my shit because I this is my life. This is
exactly. Your reputation is your life is at stake, and your word is at stake. But why are people so like adamant to put the snitch jacket on motherfuckers who never was real from the first place? That's where you getting shit confused. I don't give a fuck. Stop looking at the money, the chains, the fucking streams and all that. Stop looking at that shit. A nigga was never real from the gate. So how can you put the code of you should follow it? Why? Because a motherfucker was hanging with street niggas? And because a motherfucker was rapping, what?
And they allowed that guy to be around him.
Knowing how he was if you're going to pay a motherfucker, then fine. If they going to, and this is coming from the niggas. Hell yeah, we going to let that nigga hang around us. If he kicking up 150, 200 grand, you think we not? Motherfucker, come hang.
Right.
We benefiting from that.
Right, everyone's getting paid.
Okay, but you got to understand, when you put a motherfucker in a situation and he's not real from the gate, it's going to backfire. He's going to tell on you. I mean,
are you surprised?
You shouldn't be.
Right.
You get me? Just like with my man George Floyd and the police brutality. Motherfuckers been doing that shit forever.
It's on video now.
Okay. And I get it. And it's fucked up that my boy had to lose his life in that situation. But you shouldn't be surprised. And that's what gets me sometimes is when motherfuckers go, oh no, I can't believe it. How you can't? This shit just happened last week around the corner, but it wasn't on film. Motherfuckers never been real. Never. Let me tell you something. And this has been going on since hip hop and money has been around. The more money you got, the more fucking courageous you feel. And that go with every fucking rapper. I don't give a fuck. If you a street rapper, and whether you a real motherfucker or you was the Poindexter nigga in the crew, the minute you get bread in your pocket and chains and whatever and you fuck a couple of bitches, you gonna start feeling like mighty man. I'm untouchable. I'm the hardest nigga on the block. I'm the hardest nigga. But the first time a nigga tests your hardness, you fold and you're gonna tell. So we shouldn't be confused by the fact of what that situation is. You shouldn't. He's not a nigga's rapper. He's not my rapper. He's not your rapper. He's not whatever.
No, he's like 13-year-old kids who like TikTok shit.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's who he's making.
Don't get it confused because a lot of motherfuckers are going, so what? He told. So what? That's your kid in there vouching for him. Because let me tell you, if you're a grown-ass motherfucker and you banging that shit, something is physically wrong.
Yeah.
Something is physically wrong. Now, I get it. The little girls, the strip club girls who dance into his music, and the little kids who like the colorful and the hair and all. I get it. I get it. But let's not be confused for a dude like me or a Nip or you or whoever. It's not my music.
Hell no.
So let's not get confused about who vouches for my man. You get me? A lot of youth, a lot of kids bump that. And that's where, because you pick up your phone as a 15-year-old kid and go, bingo. Because me as a grown-ass man, I'm not picking up my phone going, I'm finna download this shit and bump it in my car on the way to.
Right.
It's for so you have to understand what the situation is. And that's what I say about that. Disrespectful, yeah, but you probably should expect that from those type of motherfuckers.
You brought up the George Floyd thing. you came up in LA probably at the peak of like the LAPD being just the worst.
Right.
Obviously, with what happened with Rodney King kind of highlighted that on a bigger scale, but there was, like you said, that happened so much that people just didn't see. What are some of your experiences growing up in Compton with the police? Because I just remember watching, was it Boys in the Hood or was it Menace? It was Menace, where the cops were just pieces of shit in there, and I was like,
oh, definitely. I mean, but ever since the days I could remember being a young cat growing up in Compton, it was normal. It was normal to the fact that you sort of expected it
right
whenever you saw the police hit your corner.
Like you knew it was coming.
If we were hanging out in the neighborhood at the hood house and chilling and the police hit the block, 9 times out of 10 they finna stop. You finna be sitting on the curb and 2 or 3 of you is finna be going to jail for who knows what.
Right.
And then you might get punched up. You might get kicked up. You might whoop-de-whoop. You get thrown in the car. You go down to the holding tank. They hold you to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and they let you go. It's been going on ever since. You riding down Compton Boulevard and you pass them and they coming out of a parking lot or off another street, and soon as you make that eye contact, they finna pull you over. Don't know shit. Ain't ran a plate, don't know if you coming from work or school or whatever.
Don't matter.
If you fit the profile of niggas in Compton who gangbang from these neighborhoods, we're gonna pull you over. We're gonna harass, jack, fuck you up, do whatever, and it's a daily routine. So you might have had a billion complaints, but who gave a fuck? You get me? Who gave a fuck? Because we were just young niggas in Compton and we were in our own world and nobody gave a fuck outside of Compton what Compton PD did or whatever. It's something that we lived with and we dealt with. Was it wrong? Was it fucked up? Of course.
But you just accepted it as the normal.
It's normal.
Right.
It's just as normal as a motherfucker standing outside on his porch and a nigga hitting the block to do a drive-by. It happens. Look where we at. It happens. Which we got, we in Compton in this small little section and got about 30 different motherfucking gangs. Niggas banging on every different street, block, park, avenue, corner. On top of that, selling drugs. Yeah. So police dealt with us how they dealt with us. Everybody banging. Everybody selling drugs, so we gonna go from neighborhood to neighborhood and we just fucking with niggas. That's what it took.
Yo, look, man, quick break from the podcast to tell you about Odd Socks, all right? They're our official sponsor. They support what we do here at the Bootleg Kev podcast, all right? They got them Nickelodeon joints. They got these, shout out to Ghostbusters. I might keep those. Anyway, what you got to do is hit that oddsocksofficial.com. If you want to support what I do, the Bootleg Kev podcast, then support our partners, Odd Socks. Go buy some socks, man. Holidays are coming up. Oddsocksofficial.com. Keyword Bootleg Kev. You're getting 20% off of the most comfortable socks in the world. Shout out to Odd Socks. Talk about how did you end up becoming involved with Menace to Society? One of the best, just one of my favorite movies ever, but obviously one of the best, movies that kind of depicted life, the 90s in LA.
Exactly. We had just came off of Colors, Ice-T, Colors, and whatever. And then Cube did Boys in the Hood. Then they had South Central with Glenn Plummer. And then Tupac had went over and did fucking Juice.
Right.
So those movies were going around. So you had 2 young cats out of LA, the Hughes brothers, who wrote this movie. They went to film school, all that. They did a lot of Tupac's videos. Brenda Had a Baby, Holla If You Hear Me. A lot of his first videos the Hughes brothers did. So they got this script. They took it to New Line. New Line liked it. Knowing they had a relationship with Pac, they felt like, okay, y'all, Pac, bingo, there's Menace to Society. And, shit happened with Pac, whatever. He didn't make the film, but it was still a good film. They called me up like, hey, we was looking for a character. I think they was trying to get Ren to do it too. So Ren had read, I read for it. I guess they liked it, my reading. They called me back. I didn't really think of it. Like I said, I'm still a nigga in the neighborhood. I think I just dropped Music to Drive By. So I was still on my banging shit with the music and the records and whatever. So I really didn't think nothing about it. And then movies, I'm like, that's Cube and Tupac shit. And then Ren was NWA. Mm-hmm. I'm just MC Eiht from Compton's Most Wanted. I'm here, so I'm like, these niggas ain't finna give me no part. And then my motherfucking manager called me one day and say, because I was on tour, and he called me and said, you got to come back to L.A. because they gave you the part. And then that's when I met Jada and Tyron and Lorenz. And like I said, Pac was there in the first couple of readings because he was still in the movie. So it was a good career lifter for me, and for the fact that it dealt with actual shit that was going on in L.A., Compton. So I think that movie kind of generated a following to where it was a good cult classic because it really showed what was going on, niggas in the projects or whatever. And then for me, who had been in similar situations, it just kind of meshed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's crazy too because obviously your role in that movie was kind of like the down ass big homie.
Yeah, the motherfucker who done been there, who done seen it. I done been in and out of jail. I done grew up in the neighborhood, so I know the shit to get in and not into. And it's just like any nigga's neighborhood who grow up and who's claiming a neighborhood. You always got that one motherfucker that's been through a lot of shit and who could tell you a lot of shit about being from the neighborhood and representing and whatnot and the pitfalls of it. So
a lot of people don't know Tupac's original supposed to be involvement in that movie. What was he was supposed to be in the movie originally?
Tupac was supposed to play Sharif.
Okay.
So my boy Vontae Sweet ended up playing him, but that's the role that they wanted him to play. And he didn't, Pac coming off of Juice and Poetic Justice and then, his records or whatever, he was a very vocal, upfront motherfucker. Pac wasn't the type of nigga to play the back role or to play the just innocent bystander or the conservative nigga. He was the forefront and he wanted to express that. So he wanted to kind of express why he was being the Muslim kid or the voice of reason. He wanted to depict that and show why. And I don't think they wanted to show that. And that's what made the movie for his situation kind of fall apart because, Pac's very adamant. I don't give a fuck. I need motherfuckers to know why I turned into the...
Why I am the way I am in the movie.
Well, I do. Yeah. Kill a bunch of niggas or what? Right. Somebody killed my mama and I went and chopped their head off or some shit. Show why I'm this person now. And they didn't want to do it. So it kind of went to a bumping head situation to where... everybody know what happened with him and the Hughes brothers, and that was the result of the bumping heads at the fucking table.
Did you and Pac have a solid relationship?
I was cool with Pac. We did a couple of shows together. He used to bang my records when he was, locked up. So we had a relationship to where when we saw each other, it was mutual respect. You feel me?
Yo, you know, with Compton's Most Wanted, Music to Drive By, obviously a West Coast classic. Talk about I feel like there was the culture of the drive-by shooting back then, right? I feel like that's something that really became prevalent in LA and
definitely
was directly related to the gang shit that was going on during that time. Do you remember when that started to become something to really worry about? Because I'm assuming it became it seemed like at a certain point in time it was just kind of the normal, right? You said earlier, it was kind of normal.
In between, for me, I just know that in between the period of 89 and 93, niggas was gangbanging hard, hard. Even before then, if you want to say 87, 86. everybody was and it was rough gangbanging. Like, it wasn't like, oh, okay, now you'll see Crips and Bloods in the same place, shaking hands, getting money together. And not that niggas wasn't doing it back then. You had certain niggas who could do that. You had certain OGs who could maybe pull up in a Blood neighborhood and get out and talk to niggas like that. But for me, niggas was on the kill war path back then. So drive-bys was real heavy around that time. Like, shit, maybe every other day, niggas was getting smoked. Damn. And then everybody had pistols back in. Niggas is breaking into gun shops and surpluses and stealing, especially when the raid happened. Niggas is breaking into surplus stores and stealing guns. So now everybody in the hoods got weapons. And when everybody got guns, I'm talking about, it don't even need to, but motherfucker go do a drive-by by itself. And I've known a lot of niggas who do it. Fuck it. Nigga, I'm getting in my car tonight and going to hit them niggas. Like, it was just, not to say it was the thing, but it was happening to where mamas was sleeping on the floors and putting their kids on the floors at night because guaranteed somebody's getting somebody coming through tonight. Definitely. And it was niggas didn't just shoot up innocently, but like I said, drive-bys was very heavy around that time.
I think too, something from the outside looking in, if someone's watching this that isn't from LA and doesn't understand the way that LA politics work, a lot of people just always associate Crips and Bloods as beefing, right?
Right.
But it's more of a neighborhood thing.
Yeah. I mean,
because there's Crip sets that beef with each other.
Yeah, you got Crips, and then especially if you have large sets, especially if you have large Crip sets who have multiple streets and multiple blocks. So, you got Crips from this block who might not get along with the Crips 10 blocks down, even though they're all from the same neighborhood. I mean, even where I represented from, there were different streets. You had Corridon, you had 153rd, you had Barclay, you had Taper. All these streets are in one neighborhood, but different crews hang on these different streets. So you could have beef with a nigga from across the street who's from your same neighborhood. A lot of that went on. Then you had Crips who beefed with Crips, Crip sets who beef with other Crip sets, and so on. So
how big of a deal was it? Because I know, when Nipsey died, it really fucked me up. I've known Nip since 2009, and but when he passed away, Big U had kind of helped put together that day of unification where everybody pulled up, on that intersection, and it was like it was. I didn't realize the significance of how big of a deal it was that a lot of those people were in the same place in a peaceful manner.
Because a lot of neighborhoods beef and have been beefing for decades. Like, and I put it to the motherfucking analysis of the Hatfields and the McCoys.
Right.
You got niggas who was beefing before you was even born. So it's that tradition of beefing. And it's just like, damn, y'all was standing in the same spot as them niggas. Y'all been killing them niggas for decades. You get me? And vice versa. So that basically, Nip's passing sort of represented trying to unify niggas on the aspect of not just, oh, you from over here, I'm from over here, fuck you. It kind of led to the place of trying to show that niggas don't have to kill niggas just over bullshit. I get it. Y'all represent there, we represent here, but this was a dude who basically tried to fuck with everybody. Whether it was Crip, whether it was Blood, whether you was from the enemy neighborhood from 15 years ago or whether whatever, right. I tried to fuck with everyone. So that's, to me, what that represents as far as Big U and Nip and them and him passing and everybody trying to show unification together. It was to show that the outside world sees us just vicious motherfuckers, gangbanging ass, vicious drive-by killing motherfuckers. And it's bigger than that, or it's beyond that. So coming together shows people that these motherfuckers that y'all look at as these vicious motherfuckers can set aside their beefs from long standing, and some niggas might not even know why we beef. You get me? I just started gangbanging, and I know we hate them niggas over there.
Right.
I'm not old enough to know what we beefing about, but all I know is the minute I start claiming over here, we cross out them niggas and we say fuck them. And the funny thing about it is, 6 years ago, I was in the same class as that motherfucker. Nigga, we was playing kickball together outside and whatever. So it just showed that we can set aside bullshit for my nigga who was already on that aspect. Like, I know where I'm from, but I got no problem with you, my nigga. If you ain't got no problem with me, I understand what happened back then. And I will never live that shit down, and I will always know where I come from. But motherfucker, if you want to get me on the song, you're blood, hell yeah, let's do it.
Right.
You want a beat from me, or want me to come to your video, or we know how to get money, or we can do this together, man, that's gonna be better for you and me in the long run. You get me?
Talk about a lot of newer rap fans might have just heard you for the first time on Good Kid, Mad City.
Right.
Which is one of the greatest hip hop albums ever.
Shout out to Kendrick.
Shout out to Kendrick.
Shout out to Kendrick. Shout out to Top Dog, Dre.
Just that record is like, just the way it switches up, and then you come in, it's like,
oh yeah, that was probably one of the probably one of the best, guest appearances I've done, or working with Kendrick, because my dude know what he wanted. He sees his vision, he sees his direction, and he came about it a different approach than what we usually used to as far as West Coast artists who come from that situation, poverty, gang banging. We usually turn out the CMWs, the NWAs, the Cubes, the whatever. And he was able to take it to a different level.
Almost like from the perspective of the kid who grows up in that.
I grew up, everybody gang banging around me, everybody selling dope, my brother, my uncle, my shit. And I am the straightforward kid, but I'm still here. So I get to witness everything. Not that I'm a part of it, because even though I don't have to say it, they gonna protect me, or they gonna affiliate me with over here or whatever. But I'm just a kid on the straight path who see the pitfalls, and I'm trying to avoid that. So as soon as I hooked up with him, he knew what he wanted. He knew where he wanted to go, how he wanted. He was telling me shit. I want you to do this. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. And you got to respect a motherfucker like that. He didn't come into the game playing with nothing. I'm not going to play around with this shit.
Were you like aware? Because obviously at that point in time, Kendrick was definitely buzzing. Dre had Section 80 already came out.
I wasn't aware of Kendrick at all.
So you weren't aware of like the magnitude of like, yo, this shit is.
I started fucking with Kendrick because my son's sister knew of him, and she called me and said they were trying to get in contact with me. I didn't know anything about Kendrick. I didn't know about Section 80, none of that
shit.
No.
You were just like, I mean, all right.
My son's sister called me and said, Eiht, this guy named Kendrick, he's messing with Dre, blah, blah, blah. They want to get you on the song. And I was like, yeah, okay.
What was it that did, because, there's so many iconic rappers from Compton, but I thought it was so dope that he put you on that record because it wasn't like expected, and it was very like,
I'm pretty sure it wasn't expected from anyone.
No, I remember I saw that. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
This fool got MC Eiht on the fucking album about Compton. Like, Jesus Christ.
Like I said, I put nothing to it. When I showed up at the studio, we recorded the song in Carson.
Right.
At the spot. So I just looked at it as, my nigga's one of these up and coming rappers. He got skills and blah, blah. And then I think the minute after I recorded the song, I went home that night, and then everything was Kendrick.
Like
I'm like,
switch
whoa.
Like, damn.
I'm like, oh, he signed to Dre and whoom. And then next thing you know, Aftermath hit me and Top Dog and Punch, and niggas was like, hey. And I was like, they was like, you the only motherfucker who got to be on the record.
Bro.
You, Drake, and I think Mary J.
Yep.
That was it. They didn't let anybody else on the record. So I was like, whoa, okay. So good look. That's why I said good looking Dre, TDE, all that, because he could have chose anybody.
Yeah.
Especially with Dre behind him. You know Dre would be like, I don't want that motherfucker, I want that. But when they said Dre said fuck it, cool, I just looked at it as they looked at it as, I was a nigga coming from Compton who my whole career, I was just one path. I didn't try to go here, come here or here. I just stuck to CMW type of shit, the neighborhood, whatever. So that song was perfect to try to throw me on.
I also feel like it was a dope homage to your career because you're somebody who is very underappreciated in the grand scheme of when we discuss West Coast hip hop.
Oh, definitely.
You're very underrated. Your catalog is fire, and I feel like that was a dope tip to what you've been doing.
I took that from his point of view as well. I looked at it as, he respected true West Coast hip hop. And coming from Compton, we got Dre, we got, Quick is there, So I'm like, but I've always stuck to that.
But you've always been.
I've always been consistent with what I do. So coming from Compton to pay, I'm like, he's already fucking with Dre. You know what I'm saying? So I just looked at it like, let's get somebody that we feel has always represented the city of Compton, always been consistent, and like you said, underrated and don't get that much shine and pay homage. So I didn't even question money or anything.
That's fire.
When they hit me up, I just went to the studio. I wasn't like, oh, well, he signed to Dre. How much y'all finna pay me and all that? I went to the studio, dropped the verse, shook my nigga hand, and we bounced. And I think I heard from them like 3 months later, and they was like Dre and Aftermath and all. And I was like, whoa, this finna be some big shit.
Fire.
So shout out.
We're going to do the very first bathroom break in the Bootleg Kev podcast history because I'm about to piss on myself. I'm going to hit this restroom real quick. We back at it? Yo, shout out to you for not smoking backwoods like everybody else right now.
Oh, yeah, man. Backwoods fucked me up, man. I don't know why niggas got on the backwoods thing.
That's like the fucking wave now. I'm like, what happened to blunts, man?
Yeah, everybody smoking backwoods. I'm like, I can't do it, man. I can't.
You talked about, obviously, Dre being involved in Good Kid, Mad City. Dre being the consensus Compton guy across the country. When we think of Compton, like he's probably the first rapper that the world thinks of. Mm-hmm. Did you and Dre ever have any sort of dialogue, or like what was y'all's dynamic coming up? Because obviously you were a factor, and he was that guy. Dre
has always just been a cool motherfucker to me. I mean, I've never, had the pleasure outside of fucking with Kendrick, of fucking with Dre. Big mad respect, because he's the best motherfucker as far as what he do. You get me? So anybody who would be, gifted with a Dre track, or just emphasis, or just the input of telling you which way to go, would be a motherfucking the greatest. But we've always had good rapport. I mean, every time I would see him out in public or go to parties or whatever, we've always laughed and chuckled and been cool, So, Primo fucked with him a lot, so Primo would go over and tell him, I'm fucking with Eiht and we working. So always good shit.
Talk about, so the new album, is Primo the executive producer essentially?
Primo executive produced, we did a record 2 years ago called Which Way Is West.
Right.
He executive produced. He, had a lot of input, his label. So on this record, it was basically to focus on me trying to get, ride the wave of trying to, continue what I've been doing for the last 20 years. So he's been a consultant on the record. Like I said, I sent him all the beats. I sent him all the tracks. He listens to them, gives me advice on what not to do, or maybe you need to do this, or maybe do this one on his song. He mixes the song. So he always has an input when I put out records.
I
try to include him because, like you said, he's one of the greatest producers. He's dealt with a lot of different diverse artists, so he has a great ear. So
he's got one of the best ears ever. And it's crazy because working with like, I feel like Griselda and what Conway and Westside Gunn and Benny are doing right now is like some of my favorite shit going on in hip hop. Like,
they doing that traditional shit.
Yeah,
if you think of traditional greedy rap and
that
then
grimy shit,
yeah, that's what you hear when you hear them.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say like how tapped in are you with the new shit that's happening? Because obviously
I listen to a lot. Like I said, I got a 16-year-old son.
Right.
Shout out Karan. Plays football, quarterback. He be up on all y'all shit.
Right.
I tell him I'm going to Bootleg Kev. Oh my God, I got to go. Take me. So he's a 16-year-old kid. So he's up on all the new shit. I mean, what? NBA Youngboy.
All that shit, yeah.
Lil Durk.
Right.
Fucking G Herbo.
Right.
He listens to it all and he loves it.
Yo, it's dope too because you DM me your shit.
Yeah.
And not a lot of artists are like on top of their shit. Like I was like, oh shit, of course. Like MC Eiht.
Oh yeah,
like, it'd be an
I'm one
honor.
motherfucker who, and I know a lot of people don't do it because they got people on the side. And I even got people, Sometimes you got to get people on your team that can whatever, but I'm the type of motherfucker that I hit you up personally. I don't play that all. Is this somebody running your page or
right.
I handle all my shit. I answer all my fans. I deal with, that's how I stay working. I mean, I do 1 million verses a week because I'm able to connect with motherfuckers. I don't just be like, oh, I got my cousin running my page and whatever. Dude send me emails, respond. Dude send me DMs if it's business, or even sometimes motherfuckers just want to say, hey, y'all get a lot of motherfuckers that just be like, man, I just wanted to tell you the shit, or I love your shit. And I respond right back, yeah, or cool, or good looking, or whatever. Right. And I ain't trying to hold a conversation with you, but I have enough respect for fans to at least give them that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of dudes, I get it. They don't want to deal with motherfuckers. I'm too big. I don't want to respond, whatever. But me, I don't give a fuck how big you are. You gotta connect with the motherfuckers that's spending their money.
They're the reason why you have a
man. Come on, man.
A way to feed your family, man.
You gotta connect with the motherfuckers. And I get it. Some motherfuckers be irritating too.
Definitely.
Some motherfuckers be irritating. They ask the stupidest questions and just shit, and you have to sit there sometime and be like, huh? But I still deal with it. It's the situation that I put myself in, so to speak. I had to gift to write and whatever and make records and whatever, and with that you gain fans.
Let me ask you something. Your beef with Quick, which I know you've talked about to the death, right? Anybody who wants to kind of dive into that, there's plenty of content out there of you talking about what happened. Do you think that you and Quick's beef resulted in, because every time something like that happens, people choose sides. Like, do you think it resulted in you losing any opportunities, or like you losing out on anything because people might have chosen up or perceived you a certain way during that period?
I've never looked at it like that because I've always looked at myself as the underground kid.
100%.
I've never looked at myself as the kid that the motherfuckers would want to come to, period. And I always accepted that in my career.
And embraced it.
I never felt like, oh shit, this motherfucker getting this and I ain't getting it. I've never felt that. Never. Because at the end of the day, I can make some money. I love to write and do hip hop. My bills is paid.
Boom.
My kids ain't starving and ain't struggling and don't have fucking holy shoes and looking for a handout. I'm fine. I've had opportunities that came along that fit me. I mean, I had the Boys in the Hood soundtrack. Mm-hmm. I had Menace to Society in a role. Thicker Than Water with Mac 10 came along.
Wow,
you know,
I forgot about that one.
I was nominated for a Grammy with Kendrick for the song.
Should have won that Grammy.
Yeah,
Macklemore did not.
Yeah. But you get it. You know. But I've always embraced my position in hip hop, and I'm cool.
Well, when you with anything, right? When you look at other people and you try to judge your own happiness based on what other people are doing, that's where you get fucked up, man. Yeah. That's how motherfuckers become depressed and they become unsure of themselves.
Yeah, you come fucked up if you do that. If I start going, damn, how come I ain't like Snoop? How come Snoop rapped the same shit I was rapping? Or how come I'm not like Kendrick or Quick or I've never done that because I never felt like that.
When you heard, man, I'm not gonna lie, some of those Quick records were vicious on some rapping shit. Like when the one line that stuck out to me when I was the EIHT. Now should I continue? You left out the G because the G ain't in you. When you heard that, were you like, man, fuck this fool? Or were you like,
it's hip hop?
Were you like, yo, that was a nice bar?
You have to come with good lines in hip hop.
Did you at least like respect his like?
I don't think when you beefing with cats that you look at them as far as, whatever, you know, but I was never like, I'm finna just blow the fuck up because of motherfucker. I looked at it as hip hop banter.
Could you at least acknowledge like, okay, Quick, I got something for you. Or like, yeah, that line was kind of, that was a cool line.
I've always felt
from
like
a hip-hop perspective.
In a hip hop perspective, I've always felt that's just like a motherfucker saying that I don't think I'm number one. I'm number two or number three.
Nobody should.
You always give yourself the credit of whatever. So in a hip hop world, because I never took shit on record personally. So yeah, good line. When niggas would be like, oh, that was woompty whoomp, I said from a hip hop perspective, yeah, it was a good line. I mean, just like motherfuckers would say, oh, what you said was all killer or whatever. Right. And I say it's all in the aspect of trying to be clever when you trying to diss a motherfucker.
Right.
You can't diss a motherfucker on a weak shit. I tell niggas today, I've been dissed by some of the best niggas. So if you gonna diss me, you at least got to come with something correct. Don't come with no weak shit because then what's the point, right?
That's facts, man. Yeah, now people just make Instagram videos about each other.
I mean, shit, motherfucker make an Instagram video or do some dumb shit or whatever. But like I said, we came from the class of writing was everything, man.
Your pen game, man.
Give a fuck about the beat, man. You gotta write some shit. Cause let's face it, a lot of niggas had some whack ass motherfucking tracks back in the days too. But their fucking penmanship was just great. Like, you be like, God damn, man, how'd he come up with that shit? So we prided ourselves on writing. So you had to come up with clever shit.
Who else on the new album outside? We know Conway, Primo, who else?
Conway, Primo, Dave East, Talib is on the new album.
Yep.
Havoc, Mobb Deep is on the new album. Corrupt, Noble from the Outlaws.
Okay.
Cocaine.
Shout out Cocaine.
Yuck Mouth. Mitchie Slick.
Shout out to San Diego, man.
Who else we got on? My girl Sherelle Terry. Chill from CM Dub. Who else is on the record? Be Real.
A lot of legends on this album.
So yeah, that's what I try to do a mix. You know, Conway, Dave East. And then I, go back to people I admired, Havoc, Corrupt, fucking Noble, Be Real. Me and Be Real have done songs, as far as back to Prelude to a Come Up on the Cypress Hill record. And then me and Muggs used to fuck around, Soul Assassins, whatever. Yep. So
again, Be Real. I feel like there's like a class of just West Coast guys who don't get enough acknowledgement. Be Real's one of them. You're one of them. Spice One. Like, there's a lot of guys.
Yeah, definitely. Spice One. Brother Lynch hung.
Shout out Brother Lynch. Shout out to we talked about King T earlier.
Exactly. There's a lot of
the Licks, the Alcoholics.
There's a lot of underground heroes here as far as West Coast is concerned. And not to take away from nothing from Dre or Snoop or Cube, because that helps us. As far as the West Coast is concerned, people stay with the identity of West Coast, but we've had a lot of motherfuckers.
Also, too, like even in the 2000, like early 2000s, there was just like a whole other offshoot of underground hip hop coming out of LA that wasn't like Dilated Peoples,
exactly,
Jurassic 5. Shout out to
Planet Asia,
Murs, Planet Asia, Roscoe, Cali Agents. There was like a whole dope. I just remember, like, I call it the Fat Beats shit.
Right. Yeah, the Fat Beat shit. Yeah, we had a lot of, but like I said, we don't get a lot of recognition over in the West Coast, which is sad. But we have cats who still love hip hop.
Yeah, of course.
And they still, no matter where you are on that totem pole, just keep fucking climbing. That's how I look at it. Fuck it. If you ain't old enough and you get no back spasms and shit and your legs ain't cramping up, fuck it, keep climbing the pole and shit, because there's a lot of good music that's being offered.
Would you ever do another Compton's Most Wanted album?
Yeah. I did a Compton's Most Wanted. Me and Chill did a record. We put it out independently last, I want to say September. It's called Gangsta Business.
Okay.
If you ain't heard about it, go peep it out. Some nice songs on there.
For sure.
Just trying to warm people back up to getting back out there. So
well, yeah, you've been active, man. Like I remember the Primo shit, and then I mean, how many songs are on this album?
20.
20 is a little 20 piece.
I got a record I just dropped in February called Official. It's a double album, 27 songs. So it's got a song on there with Exhibit and Problem called Profiles. I just been working, man. I've been working, just trying to stay working, stay active. We know with the coronavirus bullshit, they shut a lot of shit down, but it's the perfect time for cats like myself to